Listen carefully. Before strength, before dreams, before victory, there is pain. Real pain. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that sits quietly inside your chest and reminds you every day that you're not enough yet. I didn't grow up protected. I grew up tested. Every loss carved something into me. Every defeat whispered the same line. You're weak. And the world never said it politely. It said it with humiliation, with people laughing when I fell, with silence when I needed help, with moments where quitting felt easier than standing up again. But I learned something early. If you run from pain, you run from growth. So I stopped running. I accepted the weight, the blood, the loneliness. I chose a path where excuses don't exist, because a man doesn't complain about how heavy the sword is. He learns how to carry it. There were nights when my body begged me to stop, hands shaking, vision blurred, breath uneven, and still I stood. Not because I was fearless, but because I refused to be small. I realized strength isn't loud. It doesn't need validation. Strength is silent discipline when nobody's watching. When you wake up sore and train anyway. When you're underestimated and stay calm when life hits you again. And you don't ask why me, you ask how much more. That's when things change. That's when pain stops being punishment and becomes proof. Proof that you're still standing. I don't chase respect. I earn it through consistency. I don't beg for understanding. I let results speak, because a man isn't built by what he says. He's built by what he endures. And here's the truth nobody tells you. Most people quit right before they become dangerous. They feel the pressure and step back. They feel the pain and soften. But the ones who rise do the opposite. They lean in. They accept the suffering without flinching. They say, if this is the price, I'll pay it. So tell me, when life puts everything on your shoulders and asks if you're strong enough, will you complain? Or will you stand there, silent, unbreakable, and finally be a man? Nobody sees the hours you bleed alone. They only show up when the results start talking. But before that, there is struggle, silent, unnoticed, unforgiving. There were days when my body was already broken, and life still demanded more. No applause, no support, no second chances. Just the weight and the choice. I learned something the hard way. Excuses don't heal wounds. Excuses don't sharpen blades. Excuses only make defeat comfortable. So I burned them. Every time my mind said rest, I asked, from what? From effort? From discipline? From the dream I said I'd die for? I realized something painful. Most people don't lack talent. They lack endurance. They quit when it hurts. They pause when it's uncomfortable. They stop when the path stops praising them. But warriors are built differently. We don't wait for motivation. We move despite exhaustion. Because real strength is training. Even when progress is invisible. I've trained with empty stomachs, with torn hands, with a heart heavier than my sword. And still, I showed up. Because the moment you accept that nobody is coming to save you, you become dangerous. Pain stopped being my enemy. It became my instructor. Every cut taught me precision. Every loss taught me control. Every failure sharpened my focus. I don't need reassurance anymore. I know what I'm capable of, because I've survived days that would have broken others. And listen carefully. Discipline is doing the hard thing, long after the feeling is gone. Not once, not twice, every day. That's why I walk calmly, while others panic. That's why I stay silent, while others complain. Because when the moment comes, I won't hesitate. So let me ask you, when your excuses are stripped away, when pain stands in front of you, when nobody believes in you, will you step back? Or will you tighten your grip, accept the pain, and prove that you were never weak to begin with? There is a kind of loneliness that only strong people know. Not the loneliness of being alone, but the loneliness of being different. Different mindset, different hunger, different standards. While others sleep peacefully, your mind stays awake, fighting wars nobody else can see. You smile in public, but inside, you're carrying weight that would crush excuses into dust. This path was never meant to be crowded, because if everyone could walk it, strength would mean nothing. I learned early, if you want to rise, you must accept being misunderstood. They will call you cold, arrogant, heartless, but they never ask how many nights you swallowed pain so your voice wouldn't break. They never ask how many times you stood up bleeding when quitting felt logical. They only see the calm. They don't see the storm. You already survived. I stopped explaining myself. Because a lion doesn't waste breath convincing sheep that it's dangerous. My pride isn't loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It's quiet, heavy, unshakable. The kind of pride that bows to no one except the dream it swore loyalty to. I made a promise to myself. No matter how many times I fall, I will never crawl. I'll stand. Even if my legs tremble, I'll move forward, even if every step hurts. Because pain is temporary, but regret is permanent. There were moments when defeat stared me in the eyes and whispered, "Lower your standards. Choose comfort. Be realistic." I looked back at it and thought, if I lower my standards now, I insult every sacrifice I've made. Every scar on my body is proof that I didn't choose the easy road. Every scar says, I stayed. I stayed when quitting felt smart. I stayed when winning felt impossible. I stayed when nobody would blame me for leaving. That's what separates warriors from spectators. Spectators watch life happen. Warriors endure it. I don't need validation. I don't need approval. My discipline speaks for me. When my mouth stays shut, and understand this, strength isn't loud confidence. Strength is quiet certainty. It's knowing who you are, even when the world tries to rename you. It's walking forward, with blood on your hands, and doubt behind you. So if you're feeling tired, if you feel invisible, if you feel like nobody understands your grind, good. That's the price of becoming something rare. Now ask yourself, when this world tries to bend you, when loneliness tests your resolve, when silence is your only companion, will you abandon your pride, or will you stand tall, say nothing, and let your future answer for you. There comes a moment when pain stops asking for permission and just moves in. Your body gets tired. Your mind gets heavy. Your soul gets quiet. And that's when most people break. Not because they're weak, but because they never built rules. When things get ugly, I did. I live by a code that doesn't change, based on comfort or fear. When I say I'll do something, the world could burn, and I'd still finish it. Because discipline is the difference between desire and destiny. Anyone can dream when it feels good. Anyone can work when they're praised. But who are you when nobody is watching? When progress is invisible, when effort goes unrewarded, that's where the code matters. I don't chase motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. I chase commitment. Commitment shows up, even when motivation dies. There were days I wanted to rest forever. Days when my body screamed, "Stop." Days when my mind whispered, "Enough." But my code replied, "Not yet. I don't fear pain anymore." Pain became a language. My body learned to understand. It tells me where I'm growing. It tells me where I'm being tested. Weakness begs for relief. Strength asks for one more step. And listen carefully. Honor is heavier than any weight. Once you carry it, you don't throw it away, just because it hurts. I would rather bleed with dignity than live comfortably without self-respect, because comfort fades, but the memory of quitting stays forever. Every time I refuse to quit, something inside me sharpens. My focus gets colder. My resolve gets heavier. I'm not loud about it. I don't announce my struggle. Real warriors don't perform suffering. They endure it. And maybe you feel it too. That pressure on your chest. That quiet anger. That burning need to become more than you are right now. Good. That's your code calling you back. So tell me, when your body wants comfort, when your mind begs for escape, when the easy road looks tempting, will you break your code? Or will you tighten your grip, walk forward, and prove, without words, that you are unbroken? A promise isn't loud. It doesn't shout for attention. It sits quietly on your shoulders, getting heavier every day. Most people don't fail because they lack strength. They fail because they forget what they promised themselves when the pain hadn't started yet. I didn't forget. I remember the version of me who stood alone, bruised, uncertain, but still chose the harder path. That version of me made a vow. No matter how many times I fall, I will never kneel to weakness. And that vow didn't disappear. When things got uncomfortable, it grew teeth. There are days when the body refuses to move, when injuries don't heal fast enough, when effort feels pointless. That's when the promise speaks. Not gently, not kindly, but clearly. Get up. Not because you feel ready, not because it's fair, but because you said you would. People think strength is loud, screaming, flexing, proving. They're wrong. Real strength is silent consistency. It's waking up and doing the same brutal work with no applause, no guarantee, no shortcut. Pain tries to negotiate. It says, "Just today, rest. Just this once, quit. You've done enough." But a promise doesn't negotiate. It demands payment, and the currency is discipline. Every time I choose effort over comfort, I pay a little more of that debt. Every time I push through the pain, I honor the man I decided to become. I don't need motivation. I don't need permission. I need loyalty to my word. Because if I break my promise to myself, what do I really have left? A body without direction, a dream without backbone, a sword without an edge. I carry my promise like a scar. It reminds me who I am and who I refuse to become. So when the night gets long, when progress feels invisible, when nobody would blame you for stopping, ask yourself, will you betray the promise that built you, or will you carry its weight a little longer and become someone your future self will never apologize for? There comes a moment when pain stops feeling like an enemy and starts feeling like proof. Proof that you're still walking forward. Proof that you didn't choose the easy way out. Most people wait for life to get lighter. They wait for support. They wait for someone to understand. I stopped waiting because a man who waits slowly forgets how to move. I accepted something early. No one is coming to save me. And that truth didn't break me. It sharpened me. Every scar on my body is a lesson life tried to teach. Every failure is a reminder that quitting was always an option, and I refused it. I don't chase validation. I don't need applause. I don't explain my path. A swordsman doesn't argue with the storm. He learns to stand inside it. While others complain about the weight, I trained my back to carry more. While others searched for shortcuts, I walked the long road in silence. Because strength that is rushed always breaks. Strength that is earned never forgets its purpose. There were nights I wanted to disappear. Days I questioned everything, but I stayed. Not because I was fearless, but because I respected my goal more than my comfort. This is the difference between men who talk about greatness and men who bleed for it. I chose to bleed. I chose to lose. Before I learned how to win, I chose discipline when motivation died. And that choice, made again and again, is what turned weakness into resolve. So if you're standing at the edge right now, tired, unheard, doubting yourself, listen carefully. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to be faster. You need to be unbreakable. Stay loyal to your path. Carry your pain with pride. And keep walking, even when no one is watching. Because in the end, the world doesn't remember who had it easy. It remembers the one who refused to fall. So tell me, when life tried to break you, did you step back like everyone else? Or did you stand your ground and become someone even fear had to respect?